And you're very welcome to the Mardyke, a little breezy Mardyke for the conclusion of the IP20 series, the Rario IP20 series. It's John Kenny, Stephen Alkin and Craig Senior bringing you coverage of this, the big game of the three-day festival. Northwest Warriors unbeaten against the Northern Knights unbeaten. The second game today is between the two losing sides. They are the Munster Reds and the Leinster Lightning, who's yet to pick up wins in either game so far. So this is a big game between the Warriors and the Knights. Most importantly, let's see how the toss went. Let's go to the middle and Craig Senior.
Well, welcome to the middle. We're here for the toss for the fifth game of 6 in this series festival down in the Mardyke. I'm joined by match referee Graham McRae, captain of the Northwest Warriors Shane Getgate, and captain of the Northern Knights Neil Rock. I believe, Shane, you have the coin. What are you going to do?
We'll have a bowl first.
Bowl first. Any particular reason for that?
Fresh pitch. Hopefully there's a little bit in it this morning. It's quite a hard ground to defend on. So yeah.
Well, we've certainly seen it's been tough to defend on during the last couple of days. Any team news for us?
Same team as yesterday.
Consistency. That's good to hear. Well, very best of luck and hopefully it goes well for you. Morning, Shane.
Morning.
Another toss lost. Yeah. You had such a good record up until the last couple of days. What would you have done if you had won the toss?
Yeah, I would have had a bowl as well, fresh wicket. Try and make the most of conditions early on. But saying that, I think we showed yesterday in the power play that we can bat well if it is tough, and hopefully set it up for the back end. Very
much so. Any team news for yourselves? Harry Zimmerman, how's he today?
Yeah, Harry's struggling a bit with after getting hit yesterday. So Liam McCarthy comes in. He's been doing well in club career, so hopefully he can play a similar role that Harry's done for us this year so well.
So Liam Doherty in for Harry Zimmerman, but other than that, unchanged.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, very best of luck, and hopefully it goes well for you today. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, that's the toss completed, and we'll now throw back to the sidelines where Stephen Alkin is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig. Well, there you go. Northwest Warriors losing the toss. They will bat. Both captains saying they would have bowled anyway. No surprise, there's quite a wind across the ground and a little bit of cloud cover overhead, so they'll try and take advantage of that perhaps early swing. Our two umpires today, all Irish crew, Aidan Sievers and Paul Reynolds, and John Kenny alongside Stephen Alkin, bringing you the first set of overs. Big game this one, Stephen. Warriors against the Knights, two unbeaten sides. Looked impressive in the last couple of days, both sides.
They certainly have, and they've been the two best sides in this tournament so far, no question about that. Both have won impressively. The Warriors on Tuesday chased 120 in beating the Munster Reds and got those runs in just 16 overs. And then yesterday, well, they brushed aside Leinster Lightning, who were very disappointing. 180 for 7 the Warriors made, and they ended up winning by 81 runs. For the Knights, well, 236 for 3 batting first against Leinster Lightning, won by 73 runs, and then yesterday chased the DLS target of 129 to beat Munster Reds by 7 wickets. So these two sides a cut above the rest. Just one change to mention: Harry Zimmerman of the Northwest Warriors unfortunately got hit on the helmet yesterday, and he has decided to sit this one out. Nothing too serious, but just feeling a little bit groggy from that, and so the change for them is that Liam Doherty from Eglinton will come in his stead. So we're just about ready to start. First ball about to be bowled.
And it is Van Workerarm who is going to be bowling it now from the Mardyke end. Our two opening batsmen, Cameron Melly and Aaron Gillespie. Looking forward to this one, the two unbeaten sides on the final day. It's a nice shot for no runs. Second game is the Reds against the Lightning. They'll be looking on at this perhaps a little bit enviously. The two sides are unbeaten. There's nothing decided, of course, today because they've got two more festivals to come at Breedy and Pembroke, but you get 3 wins out of 3, puts you in a very good position.
Well, the Northern Knights will be looking for a result similar to the one they got in Breedy when they beat the Northwest Warriors in the 50-over championship. These two sides, big rivals, the two northern-based provinces. That's slashed away for 4.
Good start by Melly. second shot in that general direction. This one whizzed past. In fact, it's Doheny is out there. Doheny's wearing 10. Difficult to tell their numbers because they've actually got darkened numbers on their green jerseys, but that's a good start. Neil Rock, the captain, is the wicket keeper for the Knights.
Yes, Doheny and Gillespie, the opening partnership for the Warriors. Doheny got 35 against Leinster Lightning. He's in quite good touch.
Also their wicket keeper.
Interesting that the Knights have chosen to start with spin. It's a tactic often used in T20. Get an over of spin in early, just see how the pitch is playing. Good running by Gillespie. Just dropped the ball short and took off straight away.
Yeah, a lot of these players do like pace on with the ball, don't they? Just use it to nurgle and work the ball around the ground. So, the last couple of years, you're right, you say that turn to spin to open the ball and just trying to keep the pace off things. So, making the batsman having to work. Down the track he comes. Oh, it's been dropped. Straight back to Van Walkrum, into the midriff, hit really hard by Doheny, and that's the end of the over. They're very unfortunate there.
Well, that was a big moment. Would have been a great start for Van Workum. He got his hands to it, but just the pace of the ball was too much for him to handle. And down goes the chance. A let off for Doheny. He's on 5. We might remember that later in this innings.
6 for none at the end of the first over then. And a sharp chance, but not taken. Paul Reynolds and Aidan Seaver, as you can see, are our 2 umpires today, 2 Irishmen. And Tom Mays is coming on from the commentary box, or the Sunday's Well end. Bowled very well over the last couple of days, Mays.
Wind has turned a little bit. It's slightly helping Mays off his left shoulder. Oh, that's in the air, but dropping short of Rossiter.
Well, they're offering chances, aren't they, in the first over? And into the second over we go. The first ball just flipped up in the air to the big hitting Rossiter, former rugby player with Ulster. Earned 1 cap with them, now concentrating fully on cricket. Mark is the brother.
Just signs there that that ball just stopped a bit on the pitch, causing the errant shot.
It is a new pitch today as well, of course. It's changed the dimensions of the pitch as well.
Yep, the wicket has been moved 6 yards to the left. So it means that the boundary away to the left is about 60 yards and the one at the pavilion side is about 67. Dimensions down the ground, both about 67. So it's quite a small ground, this. We'll see lots of 4s and 6s.
Well, there should be 4. Well, it's a good stop in fairness. Fielder and wicketkeeper in tandem. Looked like it was going to head all the way to the boundary. As you say, it's a short boundary down there, but it's good running and saved a couple. I think there was Matt Foster down there in combination with Neil Rock.
Couple of leg byes as Tom Mays just strayed down the leg side. Slip in for the big man. Turn to mid-wicket by Gillespie for a single. First 6 overs, of course, the power play. Only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. And for Doheny, they have 1 man at third man, and the other deep fielder is in front of the pavilion at mid-wicket. And with the slip in, there's 4 saving 1 on the offside and 2 on the leg. And that one drifting away from the bat of Stephen Doheny. He was never going to get to that. Good ball from Tom Mays. Bit of a way swing there. Another glorious morning in Cork. Who would have thought it? 3 days of beautiful weather in the Mardyke. If anything, a little bit warmer today, though very strong winds forecast today. And that just wrapped Doheny on the pads.
An unusual sight yesterday. Goings on here in the Mardyke. Swarm of bees by the pavilion stopped play in the Munster versus Knights game. The swarm crossed the ground, the players at the deck. I've never seen that before. And we got Super Mario into 20,000, they reckon, in that cluster yesterday. 20,000 bees. It's the biggest crowd Ireland have ever played in front of, or the Interbros have ever played in front of. 9-0 after 2.
I was looking at the fence today, and there are still a few remnants from that swarm still there on the fence. The ones that didn't get into the bee box that Super Mario came along to sort out our problem with, and they're still there. They'll no doubt start another hive somewhere.
But you got to find a queen first, Stephen. So that's the thing. So they've actually, it was fascinating to watch him just put in a little clamp and pull the queen out, and the response, and put it in the box, and the response was total. They all headed towards the box, but the majority of them, obviously. Oh, it's reared up. Hit him on the hand. That's smart. Gillespie. He wasn't expecting that.
Matt Foster, the bowler, who's just come on to replace Van Workham at the Mardyke Walk End. And he's bowled well this week, Matt Foster. This wicket looking a little bit lively.
Yeah, it just rears up on him. You'll see it. He wasn't expecting it. Just there. Able to trapped his hand on the bat handle. So they're just going to have a quick look at him. You mentioned that we're missing Henry Zimmerman today from the Warriors lineup because he got hit in the helmet yesterday. Now, it didn't appear to be too bad, but we could hear the clunk as it hit the helmet. So obviously they're taking no chances in terms of protocol. I remember playing rugby when I was in school years ago, and we got a smack in the head, and it didn't. We didn't know anything about concussion those days, and played on, which led to migraine headaches and missing school for a month, and that was the end of my rugby career. So they're very careful now with the protocol these days in all sports, and particularly in cricket. And after the, we've had tragic deaths of balls hitting players underneath the helmet guards as well. So they're just very careful, making sure that the players are all right after a smack in the helmet. And in fact, you do have to change your helmet, even if it's a small little nick from a delivery.
But the problem here for Gillespie is his right hand. And it looks like he will be okay to continue. But that'll make it difficult for him. Always harder to hold the bat handle when you've taken a blow on the hand. Small guy, Aaron Gillespie. So the ball doesn't have to get up very high to make it difficult for him. Just a mention of the scorers today. They keep us informed with their digital entries in the computer. Edward Gash from Middleton College and Helen Cairn from Phoenix. New scorer, Edward. He's come in today for the third day of this Rario T20 festival.
Warriors put into bat. Doheny and Gillespie at the crease. Foster bowling now from the Mardyke Walk End. Down the leg side, that should be a wide. In fact, it's going to be 2 because Neil Rock can't cling on. Scott Macbeth, the captain, Shane Getka, then due in. Cameron Melly, big hitting William McClintock, Ryan McBreath, Keane Robertson, Jared Wilson. Then we got Doherty, who's playing today. Liam Doherty in for Zimmerman, and McKeegan, who was man of the match a couple of days ago for the Warriors.
Little change in the field here. Slip in for Foster. He was there already, but the Man fine on the offside. Cade Carmichael has come up into the circle, and they've dropped a man deep at third man, and they've also got cover at mid-wicket. And that one kept low, and it was difficult for Neil Rock, who took a bang there. So all sorts of things happening, and you just wonder about this wicket. It's certainly causing the players problems both in the field and with the bat.
I've heard recently of a match being called off because the pitch was so bad. Rock is down injured. Tried to take that low down. This Mardyke ground is very bumpy. We've seen it around the boundary edge in particular. There's all bumps and hollows, and the players have been scuffing up the dirt as well with their spiked shoes. And we're over, 2 in the square. More central position for this particular wicket. But we've seen one rare up now on Gillespie, and now Neil Rock having to be attended to as well. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Well, it'd be good to see a replay of that, just to see how the ball behaved off the pitch. Neil Rock, such an important part of this Northern Knights team, captain, wicket-keeper, has already done really well with the bat, scoring 79 not out for a man-of-the-match performance against Leinster Lightning earlier in the week. So a small break in play here, 12 for no wicket after 2.2 overs. Dohney on 5, Gillespie on 2. I think he'll be okay. He's certainly putting the pads back on, which is a good sign. Game hasn't really got going. It's been a bit stop and start. Gillespie getting hurt first with the blow on the hand, and now Neil Rock, the Knights skipper, he just sort of didn't seem to see that ball comfortably into his hands, which is what you normally see. He might have just twisted himself as he went to take it. Difficult to tell from here. But he seems to be okay to continue, and that's good. And hopefully this game can settle down and we can start to see some hitting and good bowling, and what we expect from these two sides, a very competitive fixture between two of the better sides in the competition. So Foster to continue. And that's
charge, and that's
over
up
the top, and it's
just about
clearing
clearing the fielder. He got his hands to it, but it's gone all the way for 6. And Gillespie having a go at Foster.
Here it is again. Looked like an intentional shot. Might have just come off the edge slightly, but very close to being caught by Carmichael on the boundary.
Foster to Gillespie again. He charged him last time. This time just opens the face of the bat, works it down to third for single.
Yeah, Foster getting plenty of life in this wicket, as he has done in the previous 2 matches. Lovely bowler, Matt Foster. Very balanced, athletic run-up. Now it's Dohney on strike. And this time it's straight to Carmichael, who's inside the circle, so no run. Score at 19 for no wicket. Dohney on 5, Gillespie on 9. There have already been 5 extras.
Final ball then of this 3rd over. Gillespie again. In fact, that's carved away by Dohney to end the over. Wide one, he pounced on that, and that wraps up the third over, 23 without loss. One or two injury problems out there for both Gillespie and also for Neil Rock. Everybody back ship shape now as we end that over. And
expensive over, 13 off it. So very productive for the Warriors, even though Gillespie took a knock and Neil Rock had to get attention as well. It was a long over that. Must have taken at least 10-12 minutes.
Tom Mays to continue from the Sunday's Weller commentary box end. Oh, wickets to fall so far. Second slip in rather than a first. A big appeal, and he's given, and that's the first wicket of the morning. Tom Mays gets his man, and the first wicket falls at 23. And Gillespie's the man, gone for 9, and Paul Reynolds with absolutely no hesitation in putting up the finger, and the first wicket falls at 23.
And it certainly looked to be adjacent. That was a very straight delivery, a very good ball from Tom Mays. Here it comes. Good medium pacers from both ends. Well pitched up, and he tried to turn it, but it was a straight ball, and that was a relatively easy decision for Paul Reynolds. The breakthrough made, 23 put on in 3.1 overs for the first wicket. And that'll give encouragement to the Knights, who won the toss and put the Warriors in. And when you do that, you always expect to make a good start with the ball, and that's what they have done.
Jared Wilson is the new batter to join wicketkeeper batsman Stephen Doheney, with the fall of Gillespie for 9, faced 8 deliveries. He was there for, well, since we started at 11 o'clock, so some 19 minutes at bat. A couple of injuries have just delayed things for the moment. He plays with Cliftonville Academy. First wicket falls of Mays' success in his second over.
Played down to backward point and well fielded, no run.
It's been difficult to judge just what's the standard score or scratch score really in this particular ground, because we've seen some low figures from the likes of the Munster Reds, made 120, and some higher figures that Warriors made 238, which is a record. Mays again, right on the money.
Excellent delivery, well pitched up. It's the way to make batsmen respect the bowling. Wilson, of course, just fresh at the crease. Needs to have a good look to just assess the pace of the wicket. Settle himself in.
Mays again. It's clipped off the legs, and Wilson will get off the mark. Should be at least 2. There's a fielder down there, but he's had to go an awful long way in his sweeping role. So Jared Wilson off the mark.
Longer boundary on that pavilion side from this newly fresh cut wicket. Ground staff were working on it for the last couple of days. Looks very similar to the other one, but of course every wicket always plays differently. And as they say, the proof of the pudding.
Doheney leans on his bat as he watches Jared Wilson just push that down the pitch.
Super bowling from Tom Mays. 1 for 3, just one delivery short of 2 overs. First over went for just 1. He's very accurate so far. Pitching the ball up and making sure that the batsmen play, and mostly defensively.
Tom Mays, 23-year-old, right arm fast medium. That's pulled away by Wilson. There is a fielder down there, playing this day cricket for Limpopo in South Africa. Tom Mays, and ends that over. That's 4 down now. 26 for 1.
The Warriors won't be too unhappy. Obviously they have dropped a wicket, but 26 after 4 is not a bad start. 6.5 and over. Doheny is still there, and he's one of the mainstays of their batting lineup. We've got some really good batters to come in Scott Macbeth, who scored 40 not out against Munster Reds. Shane Getcate, who won the man of the match against Leinster Lightning for his 55. And Cameron Melly also has a 30 not out against the Reds. So plenty of confidence in the middle order. And of course Willie McClintock, well, we know how he can smash the ball to all parts of the ground.
Van Voorkom is back on now from the Mardyke walk. They're going to go for the quick single. Rock throws at the stumps. Bit of an overthrow, but they've got backing up. In terms of the T20 Trophy points table so far, Northwest Warriors have 10 points. They got a bonus point from their 2 games. The Knights have got 9 from their 2 games. So to win this particular, you think they'd have to win. Bonus point may not be in the offing, and their run rate is below the Warriors as well. Oh, you got lucky there. The ball reared up on Doheny and it missed Neil Rock as well. He'd have been out-stumped had it gone straight to the wicket-keeper, but it just jumped up over him and it's gone through for 4 byes. Unlucky Neil Rock.
Well, Neil Rock is one of the better wicket-keepers in this competition, and you could see how that ball just surprised him with the sudden sharp rise off a good length. Warriors won't mind. It's 4 on the scoreboard. And of course, Van Workum will be encouraged, seeing that he's getting some life from this pitch.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of life, especially at this end. It's up and over the top, and it's going to go all the way to the boundary for 4. It's a big tall man standing at short cover, but he was never going to catch that. Nice shot from Doheny. Adds to that previous 4 byes.
Cracking shot, that inside out. Intentionally lifted over the cover fielder. The only man in the deep is at mid-off, so plenty of space out there towards the pavilion.
Scoring at just over 7, nearly 8 runs and over. Reverse. Oops. That could have been the death of him, Doheny, but fortunate not to chip it to the man at short third.
Difficult skill. When it's done well, it looks easy, but it's actually a very hard thing to do. The reverse sweep.
Down the track he comes, and that should be a maximum. Yes, it is. Straight down the track. But having tried to clip one round the corner, he likes the spin bowler of Van Workum, and unfortunately from his point of view, over his head.
Yeah, great use of the feet here from Doheny. Turning it into a half volley and smashing it. Excellent contact. Fine maximum for the wicket-keeping batsman.
Down the track he goes as well, but he just dropped it in short, so dot ball to end that over. 41 for 1 at the end of 5.
And things looking better for the Warriors now. Van Workum having an expensive over there. He's gone for 16 now off 2 overs. 10 off that last over.
Leinster versus the Reds starts at 3:30 this afternoon. Both teams looking for their first points. In July then we move to Breedy for the second IP20 festival. Reds against the Warriors and the Lightning against the Knights, the opening games there. That's on the 14th of July. And then we will move to Pembroke in August. All this wrapping around Irish international cricket, and later on this month Ireland going to Zimbabwe for the World Cup qualifiers. Change of bowling. Ruben Pretorius coming on for the first time. That's in the air, and that should go all the way down to the boundary. It's a short boundary down there. up and over, and Rune Pretorius gets a rude welcome to bowling in this, the final day of the IP20 Festival, day one.
Pretorius bowling up the hill into a stiff breeze, which is strengthening as the morning continues, and the cloud cover has gotten a little bit thicker since the game started.
Pretorius bowls again. This one, ooh, just a little uppish through backward point, going to run away to the boundary for 4. Pretorius has been expensive in his first 2 deliveries, a 6 and now a 4.
And Wilson not looking perfect with that stroke, but there's so many gaps, of course, and he's found one of them there at third man. 10 off 2 deliveries. Pressure on the bowler.
Yeah, 50 up already. And we kept a little low. Shouldering arms the batsman. Welcome dot ball for Pretorius, the South African.
Pretorius, who got man of the match yesterday for some excellent batting, scored 44 and also took 3 wickets as the Knights brushed aside the challenge of the Munster Reds in that B-affected match.
That's a good shot for no runs. Fine fielding by Rossiter, preventing the boundary. Pretorius now 33 years of age. South African. Has played in the past for KwaZulu-Natal and also the Northern Knights. As you mentioned, man of the match yesterday.
Very good delivery. Got a little bit of lift just back of a length. Straight to the fielder at short third. Good comeback this from Pretorius. First ball went for a 6, then a 4. And now 3 dots. He's a great competitor.
Warriors will take 10 runs from this over. It's the last ball. That's nicely played. It's going to beat Mays and it's going to go all the way to the boundary. So an expensive start for Rune Pretorius. And it ends the 6th over. And they've gone to 55 for 1. Thanks for the moment, Stephen. And it's going to be Craig Senior coming in for the next set of overs. Stephen and Craig will wrap up the first innings a little later on. But it was a fine shot to end that. The 6th over, the power play, 55 for 1, having lost the toss and been put into bat. Craig, this is a good start for the Warriors. Just the loss of 1 wicket. Aaron Gillespie gone for 9. LBW to Tom Mays.
Yes, an excellent start for the Warriors. Exactly what they would have wanted. The loss of 1 wicket in the power play. Well, it's acceptable. Not ideal, obviously. And I'm sure Aaron Gillespie, well, after that rap on the hand, the temptation is to go too hard.
Foster now back on for the Mardyke walk end. A little breezy, a little cloudy. That's, I suppose, the thinking from the Neil Rock putting the Warriors into bat. Obviously looking for a bit of movement.
Well, Neil at the toss mentioned about it being a new pitch today. We've played the first 4 games on the pitch, 2 to the right as you see it. But this is a new pitch, and he wondered if that would help his bowlers.
Oh, again, that's just a little uppish. Gillespie got trapped. The ball hitting the glove and then trapping it onto the handle of the bat. Not so long ago. That was something similar.
Yeah, this time avoiding the gloves. But you could see that, well, Aaron Gillespie, his hand got trapped on the bat, and that would have been quite painful.
Wilson facing. Tries to steer it.
I suppose that's the nature of T20. You get a ball like that in a 50-over game or even a multi-day game, chances are you'd leave it to go through to the keeper. But in T20, every ball has to be considered a run-scoring ball. And you can see Wilson was trying to lift that one down to third.
Oh, it's gone miles in the air. Is there a fielder underneath it? Well, they're going to go run together, the two of them, but falls in between the 2 fielders, so in no man's land, but that allows them to run through for 2.
Well, Foster certainly is extracting some bounce from this wicket. Neither team, of course, with the new wicket is going to know how it's going to play.
Maybe on the same piece of turf, but it's a different pitch, all right. So it's got its own vagaries. Wolf, that could be out. Has it cleared the boundary? No, it hasn't. Straight down the throat of the fielder, and Wilson perishes. Foster gets his man. Got a little tap in his first over, but come back well. Got a bit of life, as you say, out of this pitch. And Jared Wilson falls with the score on 58.
Well, a brief cameo by Wilson, but he certainly was connecting well with the ball. 3 good boundaries before, in search of the 4th one, he just found the man. You can see the big swing of the bat. He knew he was in a bit of difficulty, as did his playing partner. Neither one sprinting through for the single, knowing that the fielder was there, and it was a fine catch by Jason van der Merwe.
So Wilson out for 19. Doherty still there on 20. A few extras on the board, 10 so far. And that should bring Scott Macbeth, yep, from Brigade to the crease. He's had a fine series so far, in terms of his fielding in particular. Great run out yesterday too. Only had one stump to aim at.
Yeah, that was a glorious pick up and throw from square of the wicket. He did only have one stump to aim at, but he hit it flush.
Big tall man, Scott Macbeth. Brother Brian also part of the Warriors lineup. This is good stuff from Foster.
Well, that's exactly the right ball to bowl. First up.
It's the end of the over, 7 down. 58 for 2. Interesting contrast this now.
Well, compared to the games over the last couple of days, this appears to be a bit more of a cagey start by the Northwest Warriors. Very aware of the Northern Knights bowling attack. And they're just going along nicely at 8 1/3 and over. And they'll be looking to take on the new bowling of Tyrone Cohn. He's coming on at the Sunday's Wells end as Neil Rock marshals his resources. This will be the 5th bowler used, and here we are in the 8th over.
Yeah, just trying to vary things up. It's very rare you see one bowler in the T20 match bowling through 4 consecutive overs, unless they're really getting in amongst them. And the variation of spin and also medium pace or fast bowlers as they chop and change to change ends all the time, just to vary things up. This T20 cricket has certainly evolved over the years. That's in the air. The Cries a catch it. They won't catch that. 6 just bounces inside the boundary ropes by about a yard. And Cohn getting a little bit of tap there. That's a fine shot.
Well, it's just about in the slot. Not much footwork needed. A powerful swing of the arms. Saw the ball travel across the boundary. Well, that was well bowled by Cohen. He saw that Doherty was looking to ramp that one behind the keeper and followed him across. But yes, gone are the days when you'd leave a bowler on. You don't want the batsman getting used to a particular type of delivery. You shake it up as much as you can. Well, that looked like an exact replay of the ball before. Again, looking, you can see Doherty, he's looking for that gap, putting it over the fielder at short, fine leg.
Maybe wasted deliveries. Every dot ball is important. Tyrone Cohen, one of the many South Africans playing in the Interprovincial Series, hit for a maximum so far in this over, but the other three have been dot balls. Changing the field now. The power play is over, so they can have more than two outside the inner circle. More of a conventional shot up and over cover. Should go all the way to the boundary for 4. Kind of spoilt his figures there.
Yeah, the inside-out shot on the offside. One boundary rider, but he wasn't able to make up the distance for that one as it flew out over extra. Gave himself room and slashed it across over the fielders in the ring.
It's a wide one. Tries to catch it. At least 2 there if it doesn't make the boundary ropes. They've done well to pull it back. Good combination of the 2-3 fielders down there. And actually, I think they run back for the third one, did they? That's good running if they did.
Well, every run is going to mash up. They're chasing, scurrying up and down between the stumps.
8 down now, 71 for 2.
Well, it's not quite the all-out 6 hitting feast that perhaps some were expecting this morning. There's been a lot more circumspect in the batting. 2 wickets down now after 8 overs. But they're putting together a solid base from which they can push on in later overs. But that's not stopping them taking on the bowlers now either. 8.88 is the run rate after 8. And yet another change of bowling.
Cameron Melly is their 6th bowler to be used this morning. Or is it Humphreys? It's Humphreys, my apologies. I think that's... Yeah, it is Humphreys for the Knights. Yeah, wearing 10.
Again, Neil Rock showing the batsman something different each over. This time left arm around.
So 20 years of age. Matt Humphreys, Ireland international, and under 19s as well. Nice quick dab and run signal as the fielder comes in, and slight misfield allows them safely to run through.
Doheny very alert to the fact that there was possibility of a run. He called his partner through. Complete trust between the two of them there. Very tidy over so far from Humphreys. He'll be hoping to get these next 2 deliveries down with the same result.
Nicely stopped at backward point. Just the single.
Morgan Topping doing the fielding there. Fine job. Just going down to his right to make sure it didn't get past him. Boundary's not that far behind him either. So certainly 3 runs saved there.
Anything you stop on this ground is to your benefit and your team's benefit, because, as you mentioned, Craig, anything behind you goes to the boundary. That's in the air, and that one's got the maximum too. So Humphreys has started well, but in the end, Scott Macbeth pumps him down to long on, and another maximum. That ends the over.
9 down. The score's moved on to 80 for 2. And that's a nice clean hit. Just nicely using his feet.
80 for 2 now at the end of 9. And it's going to be Pretorius. He's coming back on. Cohen bowled the previous over from this end. Pretorius was expensive in his first over. Went for 14. There's runs to be had this morning. Warriors top of the pile so far after 2 games each, unbeaten, and a bonus point too. Tom Mays has been asked to come into the circle at mid-off. Is that going to split the 2 fielders? No, it's not. Just a single. Cohen doing the fielding. Well, the wind is getting up.
A little bit breezy.
Seems to be blowing straight down the ground into Pretorius' face. We've had different variations of the wind here as well. First couple of days it was blowing from right to left. Yesterday we got a variation left to right. Now it seems to be coming the other way. Oh. Well, I would have caught it had to be the first or a second slip there. As it was, Neil Rock was actually going one way and the ball flew to the boundary the other.
Just coming off the edge, as you say. The first or second slip probably would have got to this. Pretorius will count himself unlucky. It's a bit wide, a bit of a slash at it, but if you're going to slash hard, and it ran away to the boundary.
That could be out. It is out. Straight down the throat of the fielder. Tom Mays just right in front of us said catch it, and it was an easy catch in the end. Just didn't have enough to clear the boundary ropes. And Pretorius, who was a little expensive, 19 runs off his previous 9 deliveries, gets the 3rd wicket.
Well, after the previous shot, this time a bit shorter, he took it round to the leg side, but a little bit cramped, and the fielder sort of 5 yards in from the fence, taking a very comfortable catch. Ross Adair out there, safe pair of hands. And Scott Macbeth, well, his stay was 11 minutes, and he scored 11 runs, but he did so quickly. Strike rate of 220, and that means now 85 for 3. Pretorius just has this knack of taking wickets. Remember, he took 2 yesterday in that truncated game. Asked to bowl the 12th over. Picked up 2 wickets in that one.
Brings their big captain to the crease, Shane Getgate, man of the match performance yesterday as well for the Warriors in their victory. Scored a half century. He comes out to join Stephen Doheny, the opener, who's still there. So Gillespie, Wilson and Scott Macbeth all gone. Coming in at 5 is the captain. We've got 3 fielders right on the boundary ropes on the leg side. 1 on the off. Up and over backward point. Should be at least 2, if not 4. That's a nice way to start. Getgate just lifting Pretorius down to the boundary.
Well, that was quite a considered, deliberate shot from Getgate. Gets him off the mark. He saw it was short, he saw it was outside the off stump, and just lifted it quite deliberately over the ring, and it ran away for 4. Super start for him. Pretorius in response decides to go a bit shorter. This is 1 for the over.
Yeah. Doheny's going about his business quite well at the other end. Doesn't seem to be noticing him, but he scored 36 from 27. while the others are falling all around him. Gillespie gone for 9, Wilson 19, Macbeth for 11. Getgate scoring off his first delivery faced. A slower delivery from Pretorius up and over the stumps. But he's done well, 36 for 27. Doherty putting down a good platform, not only for his team but for himself as well.
Well, that marks the halfway stage of this innings for the Northwest Warriors. They've progressed on to 89 for 3 from those 10, and they'll be looking to double that, and with 7 wickets in hand, push on from double that.
It could be in towards the 180, 190 figure, you would think. Here's the batting figure so far for the Warriors.
Well, Stephen Doherty, as you say, quietly, unobtrusively, he's reached 36 from just 27 balls. He's seen Gillespie, Wilson and Macbeth all perish down at the other end. 1 LBW and 2 catches, and he's now been joined by his captain, and they'll be looking to take this forward over the next 3 or 4 overs.
Get a look at the bowling figures now in a few minutes. Doherty continues on his way. Humphries now into his second over. Taken for 9 in his first. Getgate taking guard for the first time at the Sunday's Well end. His team nicely placed. 90 for 3 in the 11th. But you think there's a lot riding on these two as well. Getgate, as I mentioned, man of the match performance the other day with a 50 plus. And Doherty, the opener, still there on 37. They do have batting to come, but this could be an important partnership for them to take them well past the 3 figures and into a total of around 180.
Well, Doherty now, he's 37 off 29. One wonders if he needed to try that shot, but sure, he knows best. He knows his own game best.
Nicely played away and nicely stopped by Topping. Again, any ball that goes behind you is destined for the boundary. If you can stop it, you could hit the boundaries and limit them to singles. That's very beneficial. It was a good stop, though.
Yeah, Morgan Topping, he's down there in that position for a reason. They obviously recognise what a fine fielder he's been over the last couple of days.
Well, tries to catch it. That's a bit of a false shot from Getgate, although he might get 4 out of it. The big top edge. Mays was interested in that, but it's a fortuitous 4 for Getgate.
Well, both Northwest Warriors batsmen are looking to exploit that space outside the ring. On this occasion, Getgate, even with a false shot, getting enough on it to clear the ring. Another boundary.
Last ball then of Humphries' second over. And it's a dot ball straight to extra cover. That ends that over. 96 for 3.
Well, the frustration on the captain's face there. He saw that one, powered it out on the offside, but immediately found the fielder. Bit of frustration. And there's the bowling card for the Northern Knights.
Yeah, Knights bowling, having won the toss. 3 wickets to fall. 6 bowlers used as well. Mays, Foster and Pretorius, who's been expensive. 1 for 23 of his 2 overs so far. Change of bowling again. Tyrone Cohen, the South African, back on from the Sunday's well end, having replaced Pretorius. Paddled in front of square for a single.
Well, not the full face on the bat there for Doheny, but they recognised the chance of a single, took it anyway. Too many times you'd see a player play that shot, and because he hasn't middled it, the frustration at his own shot prevents them being alert for the single, but not on this occasion.
Getting words of advice from Pretorius away to his right hand side before he came into bowl there. Roll the fingers over that one.
Good bit of lift on that through to the keeper. One for the over called by the umpires. Aidan Sievers and Paul Reynolds today are two umpires.
Yeah, I've had a visiting English umpire who's third today, Sam Hollingshead, who's stood in previous games here, coming over from the UK. And part of an exchange. That's got a beat backward point, should go all the way to the boundary. Nice shot that. Cut it away. And 4 more to the total.
Well, it was the finest shot that we've seen from Shane Getgate this morning. He just, see how he positions his body, gets down low, and then just plays it away. And again, if you beat the fielder, you've got a good chance of it going all the way.
It just shows you don't have to bludgeon the ball. Use the speed of the delivery. That's well bowled. Getgate just dropping the hand, swaying out of the way.
Well, it's a super comeback from the bowler. Gets the dot ball. Nice rising delivery. Getgate quite sensibly dropping his hands.
Getgate moving around in his crease. Slashed at that one. And it's gone over a short third and all the way to the boundary for 4 more.
Well, there was a cry of catch it, but once again, Getgate seems to know exactly how to clear that in a ring, whether it be with the full face of the bat or just lifting it over the short third.
Dan Cohn now looking to get out of this expensive over. And they go for the quick single. And the throw at the stumps misses, so 23 runs off 2 overs is expensive from Cohn, and then it wraps up the 12th, 106 for 3.
Well, this is exactly what the Warriors would have wanted. They've put down a really solid base. They've reached the 100 in the 12th over. And that leaves them now with 8 overs to really push on. They're going at 8.8 at the moment. If they keep that up, that 180 is certainly within reach. And it seems that over the 3 days, a score of 180 is a very good score. Not insurmountable, but it certainly puts some pressure on the side batting second, and that's what the Warriors will be looking to do here.
Matt Foster on now for his 3rd over, 1 for 16 from his previous 2. Doheny still there along with Shane Getgate. This pair came together when the score was on 85. Slower ball over the top of the stumps. Getgate just to try and cut that away, missed it. "17 runs so far for Getgate from only 11 deliveries faced." He's continuing this rich frame of form from that half century yesterday. Man of the match performance, or player of the match performance yesterday. Gate looks very, very settled out there, even early in his innings. Doherty's actually playing a little bit of second fiddle here now, the opener.
Well, he's providing the solidity at one end. Gate. Oh, he's not really gone after the bowling yet, but he's picked up the runs that he can, and he's scored 4 boundaries in his 18.
Slight adjustment in the field now. Topping has gone finer. Down a third. All going on out there. Rock taking the ball way above his head. It's one for the over from Foster.
Good delivery. Doherty coming down the track, but it was a bit too short, even as far down the track as he ended up. And as you say, Neil Rock did well, taking it well over his head. Not quite tennis ball bounce, but good lift.
That's in the air. That could be out. There is a fielder down there, and he perishes too. Just got a little bogged down, Doherty, in the last couple of overs, and he finally perishes, trying to whip that one behind square on the offside, and the fielder snaffles that up, and the 4th wicket falls in the 13th over.
Well, a well-crafted 39 from Doherty. Finally falling to the catch from Pretorius. But he's done exactly what his team needed. And just as he was starting to look to press the accelerator, he's come down the track, but he hasn't got all of it. It's come off the toe of the bat. And Pretorius, well, he was on the boundary specifically for that shot. And he takes the catch. And that's another wicket down.
32 balls faced. 2 sixes and 4 fours for Stephen Doherty for his 39. Shane Gate going along very well. 18 from 13 deliveries of 4 fours.
Cameron Melly now takes his guard. Joining his captain in the middle. Well, they've put down the base. There's now 4 down, 107 on the board.
Oh, he's bowled him.
Well,
Straight through. 2 and 2. And a hat-trick ball. Foster coming up. First, he gets rid of Doherty. Now he's got rid of Meddy first ball. And a good platform for the Warriors is disintegrating.
well, 2 balls ago, they were looking at 107 for 3. Now 107 for 5. And how quickly this game can change. They've put in the solid base, but they really need to push on from here, and the Knights are doing a good job of pinning them back. Foster will be delighted. 2 and 2 balls. I think it's the first chance we've seen for a hat-trick this week.
Yep. Big hitting William McClintock coming in yesterday. He was thumping the ball to all parts of the ground. Big Willie McClintock. He comes in with 2 back-to-back wickets for Foster. He's going to have to survive this if it's not going to be a hat-trick. So they're giving him a little bit of support. They put a slip in Pretorius. So here he comes. This is a hat-trick ball. Oh, he's tempted him, all right. But he didn't go through with it. And then into the 13th over. Very good over from Foster. Now 3 for 17. That's improved his figures no end. 13 overs down, 107 for 5. Quick word from you, Craig, and Stephen Alcon back in.
Well, Matthew Foster, 3 for 17. That was a fabulous over for him and for his team. 2 wickets and only 1 run. That was a super piece of play. Getgate now on 18, and you see there William McClintock yet to get off the mark, having faced just that 1 rising ball. This time, McClintock powering one through the leg side, and he picks up his first boundary. Well, that kind of... It was a fabulous over before, and even with the boundary, 2 wickets down. 13 gone, 7 to go. The score has moved on to... As you see the replay of McClintock's 4. Score has moved on to 112 for 5. And we welcome to the box Stephen.
Yes, I rather got carried away there. I'm sitting on the bench with Heatley Tector and we're watching the cricket and I'm taking all the notes of what's happening, so I know exactly what's going on. It's just I completely forgot I had to come back and do some commentary. But I was just saying to them that Stephen Doheny needed to play the anchor role, and he just scored. He'd had 6 scoring shots in a row that were all singles after a great start to his innings, and I just felt that playing against Foster he might just throw the bat at it, and that's exactly what he did, and he got out. And then of course Melly's out first ball and the whole game has changed.
It certainly has. That pendulum has certainly swung the Northern Knights' way with those wickets from Foster.
Now it's Tom Mays coming in from the Sunday's well end, and just played quietly by Getgate into the covers for a single.
Yes, Doheny had been sort of the unobtrusive steadying force at one end for the first half of the innings, but then he saw that ball and he felt he needed to take it on, and all he did was find Pretorius. And then suddenly, with Melly going first ball, well, the momentum definitely with the Knights now, and you can see why Neil Rocker's gone back to Tom Mays for his 3rd over.
And straight away, Willie McClintock sends it deep, but it's Ross Adair who's out there on the fence, and it's just a single for the man from Donnamana. Some news has arrived about Leinster Lightning coach Nigel Jones, former Irish international, has been appointed talent pathway coach Northern Ireland on a full-time basis for the next 2 years, so his involvement with the Lightning has come to an end. And the Lightning, of course, playing later today against the Munster Reds. An interesting development.
Well, it makes sense for Nigel, for his family, for his personal life. He's based up the north anyway. He's done a fabulous job with the Lightning over the last 6 years. Appointed in 2016, and he's taken this group of players, and I feel he's done very well. He's always known that his established players aren't going to be available all the time, and he's developed a sizable squad, especially with young, promising, upcoming cricketers. And we'll see the Leinster Lightning to the good in the years to come.
Well, that ball really ballooned up over the head of William McClintock, and it has been signalled wide by Paul Reynolds. I've seen a few like that today.
Yeah, there has been a little bit of, I wouldn't call it quite tennis ball lift, but off a good length, it's getting higher than the batsman's expecting. Doesn't have to be too short to get over his head, and in some ways that provides its own issues for the bowlers as to what length to go to when you're looking to go for a shorter ball.
Played straight and firmly over the head of Pretorius at mid-off and over the boundary rope for another 4 to McClintock.
Well, that was just in his arc, and he has the power to clear the fielders in the ring. You can see, just comes round on it. Lovely fall for him. Something that his side needs to see. It's been a while since we'd seen a boundary.
9-4 for McClintock. And he's out. Well pitched up ball, which he was going to pull towards the pavilion, but he's misjudged that one. It's gone through, and Mays has the wicket. 6 down now for the Warriors, and they're in trouble. McClintock out for 9. A quick innings again, but not as long as his captain Shane Getcate would have wanted.
Well, that's Tom May's second wicket, and justifying Neil Rock's decision to bring him back there for his third. He picks up the wicket of William McClintock. Well, it was on a length, and it hit the top of the stumps, and he's gone. A strike rate of 180 is good, but as you say, his captain would have wanted him to be there for more than just the 5 balls he did actually face.
Yeah, Shane Getcate is at the other end watching Melly McClintock going back to the pavilion, and certainly the Knights on top here. It was looking like 200 was achievable, but there's just 6 overs and 1 delivery left, and at 120 it's those 6 wickets down that could be the problem for the Warriors. New batter Liam Doherty, who's come into the side today to replace Harry Zimmerman, who got hit in the helmet yesterday and is unable to play today. Down the leg side. 1 more to the total for the Warriors.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Doherty. It's his first game of this festival, and he has the chance to bat with his captain. And part of the problem for the Northwest Warriors is the biggest partnership they've had so far is just 35.
Good shot. Played just backward of square and beating Van Workum on the boundary. So that over ending with a boundary to Liam Doherty, that'll settle him down. His first sight of the ball in the middle in this Rario T20 series. And at the end of that 14th over, the Warriors on 125 for 6.
Well, they don't have as many wickets in hands as they would have liked for these final 6 overs, but with 4 in hand, you get the feeling that these two, well, they're going to look to accelerate now and try and pick up 40, 50 runs. And if they do that, then that target they set could be in excess of 180.
Theo Van Workum coming on again from the Mardyke walk end. He almost had Doherty caught and bowled in the very first over when the opener was on 5. His 2 overs so far have gone for 16. And that's dropped by Matt Foster, an absolute dolly from Shane Getcate. And how big a mistake might that be? Foster, who has bowled beautifully today.
Getcate trying to sweep it over the man in the ring. Instead it went straight to him, and Matthew Foster, well, there'd be nobody more disappointed than him.
And Getcate would be just the man to exact full revenge. A couple for him of the next delivery. Van Workum, who dropped Doherty in this first over, now sees the dangerous Getcate dropped in this one, and he's been a little bit unlucky, you'd have to say, not to get a wicket so far.
Well, very much so. And he'll be feeling that as well. Missed opportunity.
A bit of a crossbat slash there from Getgate, didn't quite make the right contact, but pushes his score along to 23.
Well, Liam Doherty, he's had to wait a while to face his second delivery. He put the first one away for 4.
Fifteenth over this. And quietly played into square leg by Doherty for a single.
Well, that's quite sensible play. He's only just at the wicket. Take the single on offer and bring your captain back onto strike. Captain striking at over 100. He'll want to push that even further. Will he take on the spinner now?
A good call from Doherty to send his skipper back as Cade Carmichael closed in at backward point. Keeps the score on 129 for 6. Strong pull, but there's cover in the deep. That's Matt Humphreys doing the fielding. Just one to Getgate, ending the 15th over. 130 for 6 the score. Getgate, the senior partner of this partnership, 24 off 20, and Doherty with 5 off 2.
Well, there's 5 overs remaining now. Tom Mays has 1. Matthew Foster also 1. And then Pretorius still has 2. And then the spinners of Matthew Humphreys, he has 2 left. Theo van Vorkum, he just has the 1 left. And Tyrone Cohen has 2 left. So there are plenty of options there for Neil Rock as to how he gets through these final 5 overs.
It's Pretorius who has come back on from the Sunday's well end on a day that is getting blusterier by the minute and the cloud cover getting thicker. It's changing weather here this Thursday in the Mardyke. Attempted pull into mid-wicket, didn't quite come off for Getgate there, but he gets the single off bat and pad.
Well, that delivery just too far outside the off stump for the shot that the captain wanted to play. Getgate wanted to bring that one round to the leg side. It wasn't there. But they took the single. Nobody that close into the wicket could prevent it. But again, I don't think the Northern Knights will be too upset with singles at this stage. What they don't want is one of those overs that goes for 20 or more.
For Doherty, 5 on the boundary, 3 on the leg side, 2 on the off. And that's a loose delivery from Pretorius, and it's through the hands of Matt Humphreys down there by the picket fence in front of the pavilion. Carried all the way. It's a 6, a maximum.
And on top of that, also a no ball, which will bring a free hit. And suddenly, what looks like a tidy over just slips away a bit from Pretorius. 6 off a no ball, and the free hit to come now, signalled by Paul Reynolds.
Impressive hit that from Doherty, but then it was asking for the treatment. Must have slipped out of Pretorius' hand, I fear. And that looks like a wide delivery for the free ball, so another one will follow.
Well,
turning into a good over for the Warriors.
Well, that was certainly a delivery where Pretorius was hoping just to keep it inside the blue line, hide it away from the batsman. Unfortunately, it just went too far, signalled a wide, and another free hit.
And that one balloons high over the head of the diminutive Doherty, and that's signalled a wide.
Well,
it's becoming a bit of a lengthy over, this one.
Well, with 2 wides, the no ball and the 6 off the no ball, That's 9 off this delivery so far. Pretorius yet to get down with the second ball.
And that's wide as well. Extraordinary.
This was exactly what the Knights didn't want. They didn't want this over where they're giving away, in effect, 3 runs. There's 10 off this over, and we've only seen 1 legal delivery.
You can't see it on the pictures, but it has to be said, the wind is getting up here. It is very difficult for the bowlers, especially from this end, bowling into the wind. And it's a very small target that Pretorius is trying to hit. And I think he's managed it that time.
That's exactly what he's been trying for the last 3 balls, just to get it out there by that blue line, get it past the batsman's arc. And he manages it this time, but that's an expensive start to his over. Just 2 balls delivered now.
This time one that Doherty can get his bat on, but it's straight to the fielder at backward point. That's Van der Merwe, and it's no run.
That's a much better delivery from Pretorius. He's attacking the stumps on this occasion, and actually, after the previous balls, batsman thought it was going to be wide outside off and ended up cramping up himself with the delivery.
Well pitched up ball, almost a Yorker there, which Doherty managed to get his bat down on. Good comeback now from Pretorius.
Right, so far it's been an over of 2 halves. Last 3 balls all dot balls, but that first delivery going for 10.
And that's a slower ball that deceived Doherty in the flight.
And it does seem that if you bowl that slower delivery, it certainly doesn't come up half as much as your normal pace or the ones that are dropped in short. It stayed quite low there. But one has to say that Pretorius is doing well to get out of this over.
Single for Doherty off the last ball, I think, of the very lengthy 16th over. Score moves to 142 for 6. Doherty's on 12. He retains strike. Getgate on 25. And I'd say there might be some serious hitting now in the next 4 overs from the Warriors.
Well, after that sort of mid-innings stutter where they lost 2 wickets with the score on 107, they've now got this absolute base in place that they can really assault the bowlers in these last 4 overs. As you can see, that over 13, 2 wickets falling in it, you'd have thought that would have pegged them back a bit, but now the Warriors well, they're pushing on as Matthew Foster comes on for his final over.
Foster with 3 for 22 so far, getting the important wickets of Doheny, Wilson and Melly. Melly first ball, and Skipper Rock will be hoping that he can do the business again and break up this partnership. Just kept down well by Doherty and a little misfield by Carmichael, but it's just a single, bringing Getgate back on strike. The Warriors captain hasn't seen too much of it recently.
But again, I think Doherty's playing the perfect support role. He's on 13 off 9. He's taking on any loose deliveries there are, but otherwise he's doing his best to get down the non-striker's end. He wants to see his captain on strike.
And that's advantage the bowler. Foster against Getgate, a very interesting matchup in this T20 match between these two northern sides, the Warriors in green against the Knights in red. Down the leg side, a little snick. And I do believe that ball hit the sole of my foot as it came over the boundary.
Accuracy, perhaps it was something you said. Shane Getgate with the finest of touches, and it ran away.
Very hard to defend a shot like that. The deep fielders backward square leg, mid wicket, and drag, but there you go, Foster does it again. 4th wicket for him, the very important one of skipper Getgate, and that is 7 down now for the Warriors, and a big wicket as Getgate has to go for 29, bowled by Foster in the 17th over.
Well, Foster's doing a magnificent job for the Northern Knights. He's now picked up his 4th wicket, but in the context of the game, this is probably the most important of them. Getgate knows that with 3 and a bit overs to go, they need to start hitting, and hitting big. And Foster just put one up on a good length on the stumps, and he played the oldest game in cricket, which is if they miss, you hit. And he's done that, and he's taken another wicket, and he's really helping the Knights to pin the Warriors back.
New batter is Ryan Macbeth, a bowling all-rounder, as we see that wicket again. Getgate trying to give himself room, but misjudging the one to hit. So it's Macbeth and Doherty at the crease. Still a few overs to go. 7 wickets down. And only Robertson and McKeegan to come in.
Well, haven't the Northern Knights done exceptionally well in the field? Their bowling attack, backed up by their fielders. Just that one drop catch.
And that was almost through as Macbeth tried to guide it into the covers, came off the inside edge, just a single for him. I think that was on the stumps as well. Really good bowling from Foster.
You can see why the Irish selectors pulled him into the extended squad, shall we say. He's bowling well here.
Beautifully athletic bowler. He's so balanced coming to the crease, and his delivery stride is very good. And there again, beats the bat of Doherty and through to keeper Rock.
Unfortunately, just overstepping a little bit there. And Aidan Seavers calling no ball.
I'm in danger of being hit by our parasol here.
Well,
as the wind whips up in the Mardyke. That's a single for Doherty to end that Foster spell. 4 overs, 4 for 30. He's done a fantastic job for the Knights today, and after 17 it's 150 for 7.
Well, there are still 3 overs to go, but there are also only 3 wickets in hand. The Warriors will be disappointed that they haven't really built on what was a good start from Doherty. He saw a few partners come and go, but he stayed there. Top scorer at the moment with 39. Everyone sort of contributed, but nobody really pushing on today. Well, you heard the little nick. And Doherty, he's caught by Rock.
Off the bowling of Tyrone Cohn, who has come back on at the Sunday's well end. And that's 8 down now. And 2 new batters at the crease. This is just what the Knights would have wanted. And certainly 100 and 150, 160 is an achievable target, as we know, on this ground.
Oh, very much so. From the first game we saw at this festival, where Munster could only put up 120, that was chased down very easily by the Warriors. Well, number 10 batsman coming out with still 3 overs to go.
Cian Robertson, the spin bowler, is the new batter from the Estonians club. He has bowled superbly this week since being transferred from the Knights to the Warriors before their meeting in the 50 over series up in Breedy a few weeks ago. And here comes Cone. Played down nicely by Robertson. Confusion between the batters, and a more accurate throw could have seen the end of Robertson. Macbeth wasn't really backing up there.
No, he was anchored in the non-striker's end, and as a result he gave his partner a bit of a fright there. But again, the throw in, well, it wasn't quite accurate enough. Neil Rock athletically having to collect it. Did manage to throw down the stumps with his backhand, but by that stage, of course, the batsman safely home.
Played straight to cover, where Topping is the fielder. No run. We've had an incredible variety of scores on this ground over this 3-day festival.
You'd be thinking that we're switching grounds for every game, the way the different scores, the different outcomes.
Flat batted to deep mid off. Good fielding from Matt Humphreys, but Robertson scampers through for the single.
Well, that's exactly the job he has to do now. Any singles they can gain in these last 2 and a bit overs.
Ryan Macbeth on strike. More known for his bowling than his batting. And he's given that one a good old thwack to wide mid on. Almost like a forehand smash, that shot.
Well, I think your first description hit it perfectly. Thwack. It was the sound off the bat, and it was the look as well. 4 more onto the score.
Every run counts here. And he tries to do the same trick again, this time straight to the fielder. So just a single. Mays hurling it back to Skipper Rock. That's the end of Tyrone Cone's 3rd over. 1 for 29, his figures. The score 156 for 8, and we've got just 2 overs left.
Well, the question is how far the Northwest Warriors can go. 156 for 8 with 12 balls to go. Even a runner ball will get them up to 168, 170. That's sort of the very minimum they'd be looking for. But with only 2 wickets left now, the Northern Knights have done the wicket taking at just the right times, not letting any partnerships build. That 2nd wicket partnership of 35 remains the largest in this innings.
Here comes Tom Mays down the hill. Ryan Macbeth trying to make some room, but he removed himself from the line of the ball.
He was looking for room. He just took too much of it. Tom Mays, clever bowling, leaving that one outside the off stump.
Well, a couple of the Warriors got going. Doheny 39, Getgate 29, but nobody's had a big innings. And there's a little edge. Did it come off the hand or the bat, or was it his arm? Umpire Aidan Seavers not convinced, and Macbeth survives.
The good thing there was no immediate decisions from either umpire. They looked at each other, conferring. before they got any further. Looking at our replay suggests there may have been the way it ballooned up, but that could have been off the forearm as well.
Again, Macbeth going for the wild swing. And Tom Mays is enjoying this little contest, I'd say. Getting plenty of life out of the pitch against the tail enders.
Well, and again, as much as we were expecting 180, 200, we are playing on a fresh pitch today, and nobody knew how it was going to play.
And this time it's lifted towards Matt Foster at backward square leg, but just short of him. So just a single for Macbeth, which brings Cian Robertson on strike. Cian Robertson, whose bowling has been superb, but we haven't seen him bat this week.
This is the first time, I think, if memory serves, that the Northwest Warriors have had to bat this deeply. They've put up big scores in previous games or chased down scores. But it hasn't taken them this far into the batting order.
And that was nicely flicked off his hip. They might get a couple here. Conservative from Robertson. I think he could have taken a second there. But discretion the better part of valour in a situation like this. Yeah, the Warriors chased down a low score against the Reds. They were only chasing 120, and against Leinster Lightning they scored 180 for 7 batting first. So 10-11 haven't seen any cricket yet. Macbeth again with one of his trademark shots to mid-on. Gets a single.
Well, that's a very good over for the Northern Knights. Just the 3 from it. Tom Mays now finished, just conceding 20 runs off his 4 overs, and as an added bonus, picking up 2 wickets as well.
Yeah, very good bowling from the Knights. They have a varied attack. They're all good bowlers. And it's Tyrone Cohn who's been entrusted with the final over by skipper Neil Rock. 159 for 8. Warriors will be hoping to maybe push that up to about 170 in this final over. Cohn making sure that he's got his fielders where he wants them. 2 inside the circle, 3 inside the circle on the offside, 1 on the leg. And that's well wide and beautifully hit to the deep cover where Van Workum keeps it down to 1.
That's a lovely shot. You could see that was timing, and just the noise off the bat could tell you that it wasn't a shot hit with tremendous power, but with tremendous timing, using the bowler's pace.
And just showing that Ryan Macbeth can do that, because before that we'd seen him try to hit everything to mid-on or cow corner. A lovely lift from Cohn, getting over the bat of Robertson, who's a tall man. Just 4 balls to go. 160 for 8. Robertson on strike with just 2 of his 5 deliveries. Went for the big one, but he will get an extra delivery because it's signalled wide.
He may also need medical attention for throwing his back out. If he'd actually connected with that, with the middle of the bat, that certainly would have seen the River Lee.
He was certainly giving himself room there. That's a good shot off his hip.
Shows he
To
can.
the man deep in the boundary. A fumble by Adair. and a couple for Robertson, moving him on to 4, and the score to 163 for 8 with 3 deliveries to go.
Well, Northwest Warriors are going to feel a little under par here.
Swing and a miss by Robertson.
Another good ball by the bowler. He's getting that one to come back into the batsman. It's cramping him for room, and the bounce is just carrying it over the bat. Keeps going along this line. One can very easily see him either connecting a 4 over Rock's head or departing via Rock's gloves.
That was well hit, but it's straight to Humphreys at deep mid-off, and just a single for Robertson. Looks like he has some batting ability, Cian Robertson.
Yes, and he's still a young lad, and that will only get better as time goes on, especially playing, and that's the advantage of bringing this youth into the interprovincial series.
Final ball of the innings, paid straight to Morgan Topping at cover. The 9th wicket goes down. Ryan Macbeth is the batter who's out, and the final target for the Northern Knights will be 164. 165 to win. Great last over from Tyrone Cone as we see that wicket again.
Well, Cohen's bowled very well at the death here. Now he is bowling at the tail, but even so, and on this occasion they've tried to lift it over the circle, but all he could find was Morgan Topping, and that ends the innings with the score on 164 for 9.
And for the Warriors, at least they batted the 20 overs. The Knights are high-fiving as they walk off the field, happy with their work. Some tremendous bowling. Here's the card. Northwest Warriors with top scorer Stephen Doheny on 39. Shane Getgate got 29. There's lots of 9s there. 9, 19, 29. Another 9 and 9 for Macbeth, who was the last man out. Robertson not out 5. 20 extras. 164 the final score. There's the partnerships.
Well, Doheny at the start, he did well with Gillespie and with Wilson, but no partnerships of any great note, the biggest one being that 35 for the second wicket, and it never got any better than that.
And here's the bowling, and some tremendous bowling. Matt Foster with 4 for 30. Mays with 2 for 20, both very economical. Van Workum as well, none for 21. He could have had a couple of wickets. He only went for 7 and over. And at the death there, Tyrone Cone, 2 for 34. A wicket 2 for Pretorius, who had a bit of a mixed bag in his overs today. But the match summary shows that the target is 165 for the Northern Knights. They'll be confident that they can do it, but the Warriors with a good bowling attack on this wicket that has shown a variety of bounce, and a new wicket that neither side had played on before today. Could be an interesting run chase here. It could be an exciting one, this. We're looking forward to a couple of exciting matchups today. The two northern sides both on 2 wins, and it'll be the Knights to bat in about 7 or 8 minutes time, and we will leave you now looking forward to that and see you then. From Craig and John Kenny and myself, bye for now.
And welcome back. Well, that was a strange innings by the Warriors. 165 required now, rather petered out, having set himself a decent platform. 85 for 2 at one point. 164 is what they reached in their 20 overs, so 165 needed for victory. A lot of wind blowing across the ground, so we're set fair for this reply now from the Knights. And very much, I'd say, Stephen, after that, quite a capitulation, but fall away. Looks like they're favourites now, batting second.
Yes, and it's Ross Adair facing Cian Robertson as we start the reply. Ruan Pretorius at the non-striker's end. And not for the first time this week, Robertson entrusted with the new ball with his left arm spinners. A bowler I have been so impressed with every time I've seen him play. 6 wickets in this series already. He got 4 for 20 against the Munster Reds, 2 for 17 against Leinster Lightning, bowling the full 4 overs each time. And that is very, very economical bowling at T20 level.
Ruan Pretorius, the other batsman now facing. Robertson's opening over. 2 big hitters. Pretorius took 3-4, and one player of the match yesterday with a fine batting performance as well.
Bowling right on the money from the start, Robertson. 6 overs in the power play, just 2 fielders out in the deep. One is at mid-on, one is at cow corner. And that has found Scott Macbeth at backward point, no run.
Very impressive Matt Foster's contribution, taking 4 for. And they got plenty of batting. Pretorius in the there opening the batting. This is a good start though by Robertson. Just the concession of the 1 run so far.
He is so difficult to get away because he varies his pace so subtly. You can't really see it out of his arm exactly what pace he's going to bowl at. Sometimes he pitches it up. Sometimes he just holds it back. That's a fine over. Just 2 off it.
Yeah. First over done. 2 off it. Pretorius will retain the strike. 165 needed to win this game and go 3 for 3. Second IP20 series will be up in Breedy next month, and then we move to Pembroke in Dublin for the 3rd and final series. But whoever wins this game will get off to a fine start, 3 out of 3. Warriors come into the game leading by a point, having picked up a bonus point.
Yep, 10 points to them, 9 points to the Knights, and of course Leinster Lightning and Munster Reds floundering a little. Both will be looking for a win when they meet today at 3:30 in the final of this 6-match series in the Rario T20 Interprovincial Championship.
Ryan Macbeth coming on from the Sunday's well end. Brother of Scott. 1 slip in place. Just the 2 outside the inner circle for the second of this power play, and he's going to be called into action immediately, but that's been powered away by Pretorius. A bit of a loosener from Ryan Macbeth yields the boundary.
A little bit short and a little bit leg side from Macbeth, and that got the full treatment from Pretorius. There's only one man out there covering a huge area. What is the long boundary, because the wicket has moved slightly to the left for this third day of this series.
A short fine leg in place for Pretorius.
The run rate required is certainly achievable, just over 8 and over. We've seen bigger scores than that on this ground this week. And there's a maximum. It hits the rope, and that's a 6. Just enough from Pretorius.
We'll get the cameraman working here. Up and over his head. And just clip the back of the rope. There. And that's, if it hits the rope, a maximum. First maximum of the reply. And they've started well here. 12 without loss. We're in the second over. Adair and Pretorius. Pretorius looks in really fine form throughout this last couple of days.
And it's turned past McClintock at backward square leg for another boundary. And this is not what the doctor ordered. Ryan Macbeth straying a little here and giving some very cheap runs away.
Could be done and dusted early. The way these two have set about it, and especially Pretorius, that's what they've got him down there for. He stepped across the stumps and just flicked it around the corner. That's why McClintock is there. He likes that shot, but it was wide of him. Slip's gone.
And a solid defensive stroke from Pretorius, who has 53 against the Leinster Lightning and 44 against the Munster Reds. And he has started here like he means to continue in the same vein.
Yeah, another good score would suggest that he'd be man of the series, player of the series. Do we do that? I don't think we do, because we still have 2 more IP20 festivals to go, but this is the first of those. And these are the final 2 matches. The Reds against Lightning is on at 3:30. It's going to be 4 more. Despairing dive. Can't stop that going to the boundary, and they started on a real blitz here.
Well, just 2 off the first over, but 18 off the second, as Ryan Macbeth has fed Pretorius' strengths, and he's taken full advantage. 3 4s and a 6 to him already.
I popped over to thought I might get an early lunch. It wasn't quite ready yet, so the tummy will have to rumble for a little bit more. A nice breakfast this morning though in Blarney Castle Hotel. Really nice establishment. Really enjoyed our overnight sojourn there. Pretorius started so well. Just 2, as you say, off the first ball. First over, 18 off the second.
And that really shows you how good Cian Robertson is, opening the bowling in a run chase and restricting these 2 fine batsmen to just 2 runs. But they've switched it up now, and it's Jared Wilson coming on for the Warriors from the Mardyke walk end. And that's a straight delivery, which, well, the bowler only really appealed after there was a shriek from Stephen Doheny behind the stumps.
I think that might be an inside edge.
They need some encouragement, the Warriors. Probably short in their innings in terms of the total that they've posted. They need wickets.
Well, it's not for me to call, but I thought Robertson bowled so well on that first over. Maybe they could have left him on. They don't have many runs to play with, especially the way Pretorius got about Macbeth.
Well, it's been a good start from Jared Wilson, though. Close with the first delivery and cramping Adair's style with the second, but not with this one. But there is a man in the deep. This could be out, and it is sliced away, and Adair has to go, and the breakthrough is made in the second over. It's 20 for 1 after 2.3, and Adair is out for 1.
Nicely caught. That knocks my argument in the head then. Jared Wilson digging one in. And they're attempting to go up and over the top, but all he did was pick out the fielder in the deep. There he goes skywards. And that's a longer boundary than we've had the last couple of days out there to our right-hand side. And coming in from the boundary ropes, snaffling the catch. And there is the man to go.
And it's
caught by Robertson.
Well, Robertson got it.
Yeah, and bowled by Wilson for just the single. We know the punishment that Adair can give to bowlers, so that's a big wicket.
Now, yesterday Neil Rock came in at number 3 because the Knights wanted to try and get a bonus point, and he's such a quick scorer. But today, I think they've changed the order. I think this is Cade Carmichael, who has come in at number 3.
It is indeed Carmichael, wearing number 8.
It's a warmer day here on this third day of the festival. Sun trying to break through. The Warriors won't be thinking about that though. They're concentrating on every delivery. It's Wilson to Carmichael. And a bump ball back to the bowler, who was very athletic in the way he took that.
If you didn't hear the big news breaking today, is that Nigel Jones has been appointed to the national pathway role at Cricket Ireland on a full-time basis for the next 2 years. Played for Ireland between 2009 and 2012. Retired in 2013. Appointed development officer for the NCU. Appointed head of Leinster Lightning and won 6 titles during his tenure. So good luck to Nigel. So Leinster will be looking for a new coach.
One for the over there from Wilson as that ball got up from back of a length. The umpires conferring and deciding that it wasn't too high to call it a wide.
Bob Kerr, our class Irish Senior Cup quarter-finals have been drawn. That's a nice shot. We'll give you that in a second.
Cade Carmichael just cracking that one away for a boundary to take the score to 24 for 1 at the end of the third over.
Yeah, he's off the mark. So the Hills will play Estonians. PCC will taking on Balbriggan. Warringstown versus Marion or YMCA. And Leinster against Phoenix. The holders are out. And the R-Class National Cup, also the holders out there. Semi-final draw, St Johnstone against Rush, and Muckamore will take on Terranure.
Fine over that was from Jared Wilson, getting the breakthrough, breaking the opening partnership.
Just 4 from it.
And it's Trent McKeegan who's going to come on from the Sunday's Well end.
Places club cricket for new buildings. Man of few words. He was man of the match the other day. Took a fall for. Doesn't say a lot. That's his cricket do the talking.
Cracking shot. Hammered away by Pretorius. Backward of square. Taking full advantage of the power play with most of the fielders inside the ring.
He's got to 23 now, and the score quickly on to 28. We're only in the 4th over.
Down the leg side from McKeegan. Just losing his line a little as he saw Pretorius shuffling across the crease.
I thought he was a little unlucky there, actually, because Pretorius made that into a wild. I know it went down the leg side, but it didn't miss the leg stump by much. I thought he was a little unlucky there. Paul Reynolds, obviously a more experienced umpire than I'll be, but I just thought he was slightly unfortunate there, McKeegan.
Better delivery and good fielding from Doherty, who's come into the side today in place of Harry Zimmerman, who unfortunately got hit on the helmet yesterday. Was watching the warm-ups of the Warriors between the innings, and Doherty looked quite useful. I think he's going to get a bowl today. Good all-rounder. Pretorius off strike, and it's Cade Carmichael facing McKeegan for the first time. And that's what
God,
you
Manny
do
Miles.
when you're in nick a brilliant shot to the boundary for 6.
They go hunting in the bushes for that one. McKeegan just straying off his line and length, slightly leg side. Carmichael latched onto that and pumped it to the leg side for 4. I've got 2 youngsters down there trying to find the ball beyond the picket fence. But I say this well and truly buried. What a shot that was.
Yeah, just lifted it up, not too much of a flourish, well timed.
Oh,
Carmichael,
they found the ball.
he moves to 10 off 4. Pretorius 24 off 12. Both of these players are racing away. 36 for 1, we're only in the 4th over. And that run rate required is down below 8 already. As you were saying, John, this mightn't take long unless the Warriors can get the wickets.
Slower ball. Shane Getgate doing the fielding. Does well. Bubbly surface away from the square. That's been cut up as well by the players and their studs over the last few days. So fielding's not easy. I was watching some of the warm-ups earlier on. They were encouraging the players not to come on too hard towards the ball in case they slipped and let the ball past it. So encourage them maybe to let the ball come to them rather than they move to it. Getgate on that particular occasion did well actually because he slipped.
Pretorius on strike, that's called a wide, just a little bit too much lift in that delivery from McKeegan.
Don't think you can argue with that one.
Expensive opening over from Trent McKeegan, 14 off it, only 4 deliveries bowled. Wind swirling around the Mardyke as McKeegan comes in. Fabulous shot.
Nobody moved except the umpire to give the 4 runs. That sped to the boundary like an absolute rocket. 4 for the moment it left the bat. That's quality stuff from Pretorius. See it here. McKeegan just one step towards the ball. Crack. And the only time they saw the ball was when they retrieved it from the fence.
5 4s and a 6 for Pretorius, and we've only had 4 overs. Better delivery from McKeegan that time. Accurate, just back of a length.
Overthrows.
But an overthrow has rather spoiled what was looking like a good end to the first over of McKeegan that has gone for 19 runs.
End of 4, 43 for 1, just 165 needed. And they've started well, even though they've lost the big hitting Russell there for just a single. The score 21. These two quickly moved it on now for 22 partnership. And we're only the 4th over. Pretorius in particular looking really well. But in fairness, Carmichael's hit a 4 with his first ball and then smacked a 6 with his second.
Shane Getgate forced to make the changes. It's Ryan Macbeth who's going to come on from the Mardyke Walk end to replace Jared Wilson. I think bowling from that end will suit Macbeth better with the breeze behind him coming down the hill. It's a very intense week for these cricketers. 3 matches in 3 days. It's tiring both mentally and physically, and sometimes it can get very difficult for the players as they come to the end of their stint.
He's dropped it.
I think Pretorius snicked that one, and I think he knew he was out. If Doheny could hang on, that looked like a bit of a gift.
It was.
For the
Regulation
Warriors.
catch. And Doheny will be so disappointed, as is the bowler down on his hunkers, as is Doheny still. Big nick. We could hear it from here. Straight through to the wicketkeeper. Doherty should have clung on. A big nick there. Oh, that's a dolly really for somebody of his pedigree. Stephen Doherty, and bowler, and Doherty very disappointed that they didn't get their man Carmichael.
And Carmichael with a swing and a miss on the next delivery. And Macbeth definitely looking more comfortable from that end.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of anger about that ball. Doherty looking for somebody to chat to after dropping that ball. Everybody's turning their head away from poor old Doherty. Not a lot of sympathy out there.
That's good bowling from Macbeth, making it very difficult for Carmichael in this, the 5th over. But the Knights well ahead of the run rate required. Nearly 10 and over. They only need 7.8 in the overs remaining to reach the target of 165. Miss hit there from Carmichael, but he gets a run as Doherty runs in from mid-wicket. So the dangerous Pretorius on strike now. 30 off 15 balls. Striking at 200. Which is always good at this level.
That's nicked away for 4. No slip in place. Pretorius is filling his boots.
Yeah, there's a sense of dejection around the Northwest Warriors team. Need to keep their spirits up. You never know what a couple of wickets can do to any game, and they can come at any time.
He may have nicked it, but it was a deliberate shot. Pretorius to 34 from just 16 deliveries. One short of the 50 now. Last ball of the 5th over. Keep the strike.
It is. 50 comes up after 5 overs. A nice even 10 per over. Pretorius to 35. Carmichael on 12. And just 1 over left in the power play, and this has been a very good power play from the Knights.
Just an update from the Irish camp. They've got games to play against in Zimbabwe in the World Cup qualifiers. 18th of June it starts. Ireland will take on Oman, Scotland. They've also got Sri Lanka, UAE in their group. Top 3 from that will qualify for the Super 6. Top 2 go to the World Cup. And then they got T20 qualifiers in Scotland as well to come later in the year. Women are busy too. They've got the Australians coming for 3 one-day international matches. It's coming up this summer. All those games are in Clontarf. Harare will host the World Cup qualifiers.
So change of bowling for Shane Getgate. He's brought on Jared Wilson from the Sunday's Well end. Pretorius on strike. And that's off the splice of the bat.
Should be out.
And it's just over the head of Ryan Macbeth at mid-wicket. Another lucky break for the Knights. They get 2. Score moves to 52 for 1.
I thought he should have caught that. I know he was diving backwards, but he got ahead of the ball. And maybe the wind, swirling wind, is the cause and effect there. Up in the air. And he just misjudges it. And having to dive backwards, misses it completely. So a let off for Pretorius.
And a swing and a miss as that Wilson delivery moved away. $52 for 1, 5.2 overs. Few balls left in this power play. Nice late cut. Maybe that return was sent to the wrong end. Quick single taken by Carmichael.
Well, in fairness to the fielder, he did get the call of bowlers. And that was from the captain as well, so he didn't have much choice really, but to throw it at the end suggested.
Pretorius to 38. Carmichael now to face Wilson. And that's pulled away past Getgate at mid-on for a boundary. Cade Carmichael, the Estonians player, looking in good nick here.
They are dealing in boundaries.
Yeah, a lot of boundaries in this innings so far. Most of them from Ruan Pretorius, who's at the non-striker's end.
Carmichael, though, is joining in as well. That's again another boundary, with this one a bit streaky from Carmichael. Up and over the man at behind square. And it's gone dribbling away to the boundary, and it's getting ominous now. We're not even at the end of the sixth over, and they're already gone past 60.
Carmichael with 3 fours and a 6 to his name. 6 fours and a 6 to Pretorius. They're feasting here on this balmy day in Cork.
Just goes your house. Well, Robertson bowled in his first over. We won for 2. Macbeth's gone for 25 off 2. Already 15 from this over of Jared Wilson. McKeegan went for 19 as well, so they really are feasting themselves. Adair will be sitting back on the hooks now going, oh, hang on a second, I only got 1. So he could have filled his boots today, but he was caught by Robertson off the bowling of Wilson, the only man out so far for 21. So they put on 40 in no time at all. 61 for 1. A forlorn search for the ball, so they're going to have to bring out a replacement.
Okay, we have some ammunition. And the bowler is ready to go. Final ball of the power play.
It's very great improvisation,
Cleverly
that, isn't it?
played by
Really
Carmichael.
was.
He moved to the off and he just turned it into the vacant area at backward square leg. Another boundary to Carmichael, who has batted beautifully so far.
And that ends the 6th over. Thank you, Stephen, for the moment. And it will be Craig to step in once again. So 6 overs down. This is the batting lineup so far. And they're unusually at top of the order, failing with the bat, just the 1, but Pretorius and Carmichael together have brought the score past 60 now. On to 65 with 38 and 24 respectively. And they've done it in double quick time. This is the comparison between the two, the Worm. And it's good news so far for the Knights, who won the toss and decided to put the Warriors in, and so far so good for them. Welcome back, Craig.
Thank you very much. Well, yes, it is going well for the Knights so far. Same stage of the Northwest Warriors innings. They were on 55 for 1, and this was when they were going well. Their innings fell away a bit towards the end.
Oh, cries a catch. It's gone up and over the extra cover's head, and a good feeling down there, just restricts it to 2. Probably needed a taller man. Robertson back on now after a very good opening over. It's yielded just 2 runs. 2 runs yielded for this first delivery, but he's been the pick of the bowlers so far. The rest of them certainly have got a lot of tap.
Yes, he bowled so well in that first over, and again he's doing well here. Just the one scoring shot in this over so far.
Again, inside out. The fielder has the ball, but they're able to run through for 2. Robertson busy in the field, demanding more of his fielders. Catch it if he can. Should have been at least 2 down. Doherty dropped an easy one. And a Wilson over.
So far through this festival, the Northwest Warriors fielding has been very good. These two now have reached their 50 partnership off just 25 balls.
More runs here for Carmichael. Just the one indeed. Went quickly to the boundary, where it's fielded by Wilson. Cuts it off, just the one. Last ball, this is the 7th over. And a rare dot ball. So that ends the 7th over. Good comeback from Robertson. I suggest they might leave him on now. 7 down, 71 for 1.
Well, he certainly seems to have been the best of the bowlers the Northwest have used so far. And it's a sign of the consistency he's bowling with that the fielder on that offside boundary has been so busy. He's kept it outside off. He hasn't allowed them to swing their arms. No big hits, and he's only going at 4 and over at the moment. And as you said, John, it's one for Shane Getgate to decide whether he's going to leave him on for 1 or perhaps his other 2 overs. Another fine improvised shot by K. Carmichael. Shoveling it out on the leg side, takes the single.
Yeah, that was the quickness of thought, wasn't it? He was looking for something on the offside and it came around to the leg. And he quickly swept that around. Very much keeping with the strike rate of Ryan Pretorius. There's Cade Carmichael, 26 and 13. Run rate just nudging that 10. It's well past what they require so far. It's going well for the Knights. Looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 against the Warriors, who are also looking to make it 3 wins out of 3. They got a bonus point, so they topped the group so far. Oh, that's in the air. That should be the wicket keepers. Batsman has turned his back on it. And that's the end of Pretorius. Ignominious end to him. 43 from 26. But he just ballooned that. And Doherty, having dropped a dolly early on, was determined not to drop that one. Second wicket falls in the 8th over. They're 72 for 2.
Well, Keegan picking up his first wicket of the innings. Add to his man of the match performance on the first day here, and the Northwest Warriors will be looking for more from the same from him. Angled in at the batsman, he just got a top edge, and as soon as he hit it, Pretorius was almost, well, he did look back, but only briefly, just to make sure the keeper took it. And he departs for 43 from 27, and he's done a super job for his team there. He's got them right off to a good start. 50 partnership. But again, the Northern Knights are well ahead of where the Northwest Warriors were at the same stage. Over ahead on the scoreboard.
Morgan Topping is the new batsman from Waringstown in that cup quarter final. They play either Marion or YMCA.
Well, Topping's had a good start to the season. A run of good scores. He'll be looking to continue that here. His team now, well, the runs required. One under 100 now. Of course, the advantages of that quick start by the Northern Knights does mean that if they see a good ball, they can afford just to keep it out and don't have to go chasing after every delivery in order to score runs. They can pace this chase down perfectly now.
Well, there's a fielder down there, but all you can do is just watch it whiz to the fence. That was fairly cracked hard by Topping.
Almost a rifle shot sound as it came off the bat, and it raced away like a speeding bullet.
Well, the ball wasn't too far away from the fielder, but it was hit with such venom and ferocity that it sped past him. It could be another 4. No, it's actually, there's a fielder down there, so just the one.
But again, with the run rate as it is at the moment, Toppy not feeling the need to chase after that one, but just played it down to third, just took the single.
8 down, 77 for 2.
You can see on the Manhattan, fall of that wicket and that over. You can see that the majority of the high skyscrapers for the Northwest Warriors were early on in their innings and it just sort of tailed away at the end. If the Northern Knights can keep going as they are now, then this target will suddenly shrink to very manageable proportions.
Robertson then continuing. Best of the bowler so far. Just keeps Topping interested. Firing it back, keeping him in his crease. Might be kicking themselves if they didn't bowl him through. Down leg side. Oohs and ahs as well. And maybe just fool the umpire into not giving that one as a wide.
It seemed to be a noise as it went through to the keeper. One assumes it was off a thigh pad. Well, this is a very interesting battle between these two.
Robertson against Topping. Just be the single. So sliced away McClintock. So I couldn't cut that off. And Carmichael, who started with such big intent, has gone to 30, just 14. 82 for 2 now.
Well, that's the sort of shot that really is a captain breaker. You can't set a field. If he'd had a slip, would he have had a chance? Possibly. but it ran away so fine that McClintock was never going to be able to stop that one.
Pumped into the offside, just singled out to Carmichael. It's the end of that over. 9 gone, 83 for 2. Now Carmichael on 31, topping there on 6, nearly a run a ball. And they're well above the rate required, chasing 165 for victory to go top of the group with 3 wins out of 3.
Well, as we enter into the 10th over, just a note that the Northwest Warriors were 80 for 2 after 9. Northern Knights are 83 for 2, and yet somehow it feels like the Northern Knights are getting closer and closer to that target.
McKeegan now back on from the Sunday's well end. They need wickets and need them quickly. That's gone. Oh, what a catch. Oh, he's dropped it. Oh, I thought he'd caught it. He had caught it. Stepped behind the ropes, pushed it up in the air, and the easy bit was to catch it when you step back onto the pitch. I think that's Keane Robertson down there, is it?
It is indeed.
Yeah, very unlucky. Caught it, did the right thing, stepped behind the rope, pushed it in the air, and the simple thing for him to do was just to catch the second ball. And I wonder, can we see it here? Up in the air, it goes down towards Robertson. There he is. Yeah, he steps over the rope, pushes it in the air, and then drops that one. It would have been a heck of a catch.
Well, it certainly would have made the highlights reel of the festival, but unfortunately he just seemed to lose his footing coming back onto the field of play, and he ended up trying to take that ball above his head, and that's what caused him just to spill that after he'd done all the hard work. They spend many times now, you see fielders practicing that, catching it and falling behind the rope.
It's in the same direction, but it's higher elevation this time, and that's another 6. Much more conventional shot this time, and nothing the fielder can do about that. They race on, and poor old McKeegan, even though he's got the wicket of Rune Pretorius, sees his figures well and truly ruined.
Well, a small discussion between bowler and captain. Keegan has been one of the main threats for the Northwest Warriors during this 3-day festival, but as John says, his figures, well, they're not getting a pretty look to them at the moment. 1 for 33 off 2.5.
Getgate comes back in the fence. Long on.
Well, that's a good delivery from McKeegan. Got it rising off a good length. 1 for the over.
Pulled. Should be just one single. Down to Robertson. And that'll end the 10th. So midway point then of this Knights reply, needing 165 for victory. They're 93 for 2. Carmichael on 39. And it is topping on 8. The man out, Ross there for a single. And Room Pretorius with the knocker 43 of 21 deliveries.
Well, they've dragged that run rate required down to 7.2. And they'll be hoping just to carry on in the same vein. Robertson it is who's going to bowl his 4th over. Just gone for 14 off 3. And how the Warriors wish they had a second bowler with such good figures. It would make all the difference here at the moment.
Robertson going to finish out his spell. 14 against his name so far, and lucky not to get a wicket. That's 4. Kate Carmichael joining the party. In fact, it's the other. It's topping, I should say, number 29. Kate Carmichael at the other end wearing 8. Bowler can't cut that off, so 4 and a single to topping. He's now into double figures, and the score moving to 3.
Well, another cry of anguish from Robertson. He's had a few good balls today that he's felt have just been a knife edge away from taking a wicket. Just as importantly, bowling the dot there.
Oh, is that a drop?
It seemed
Might be a bump ball.
It seemed like one that flew away to the fielder. He couldn't hang on. Here's a dot ball. Whether it was a bump ball.
I think it is Aaron Gillespie. Gillespie in action again. Nicely paddled around the corner to end the 11th over, and the 3 figures are up already. This is fine batting. Carmichael already into the 40s off 22 deliveries, 102 for 2 at the end of that over.
Well, that was a beautifully improvised shot, down on one knee and just paddled it round the corner. Raced away to the boundary. It brought up 3 figures for the Northern Knights. And it brings the run rate required down to exactly 7 with 9 overs to go. The Northwest Warriors, well, they need to take a wicket. They need to break this partnership. These two now have put on 30. And they won't want to see this partnership getting much bigger, will the Warriors? Looks like Getgate's going back to Wilson now. Keegan, very expensive for his 3 overs. Just shows what a cruel game this can be. Man of the match on day 1. 1 for 35 off 3 on day 3.
Rare dot ball, start of the 12th over. Carmichael in 43, run rate's up at 9.13. It's well ahead of where they should be. Topping, coming in and scoring 13 off 13 deliveries. Jared Wilson is the bowler. Well, no matter who the bowler is, they're scoring freely. Topping tops that and rolls it away to the boundary behind square on the legs on the offside, and another four close to that total.
Just quite deliberately lifting it.
Left and right. Military batting. Left, right. Topping onto 21 very quickly. Score on 110 for 2.
Well, there seems to be a freedom amongst with Morgan Topping's batting at the moment. Nothing nicer than coming to the middle when you feel you're in form.
That's another boundary. That's 3 in a row now. He's setting into all parts of the ground, Topping. 25 now from just 16 deliveries, 114 for 2.
Wilson just showing some frustration. Started with a dot ball, but since then it's been all boundaries. Nicely played along the ground. He got on top of that and powered it through the ring. It ran away to the boundary.
Well, it looks like the Warriors just didn't score enough runs. Scullums have a nice platform. They were kind of equal in terms of runs and wickets down, but now the accelerator's gone on. Both Topping and Carmichael not waiting. Maybe he played some really glorious shots. Dropping catches as well. Like Doherty dropping one behind the stumps hasn't helped.
No, catches win matches. Another cliche. There's a reason why it's a cliche. It's because it's so true. Sam Hollingshead. Well, he's brought on the box of balls. That one disappearing into the hedge. And that's what this small delay is as we change for yet another ball. I don't know who does the shopping for the cricket balls for Cricket Island, but they must be getting a bulk discount because
Yeah, they better hope they are.
we're using an awful lot in 3 days with the strength of the hitting.
Look at the position they're in now in a T20 game. 51 from 50 balls. It's just a run of ball, so should ease to victory here, unless they lose a couple of quick wickets and give the Warriors at least a sniff of a chance. Hit on the up. There's a fielder down there, just a single.
Just slightly clothed that one. You could tell from the sound off the bat it wasn't the cleanest of hits, but it was enough for a single. So, will the Northern Knights now continue in the vein they've gone so far, or will they realise it's just a run of ball and just start pushing it around and take the risk out of it?
There's your answer to that one. You only get a single because there's a fielder down there. And that's the end of 12 overs now. 117 for 2. Check that, 116 for 2. Carmichael on 14. Topping on 26. 49 runs now needed for victory off 48 deliveries.
Well, this could be the partnership which takes the Knights a long way towards their victory target. They came together with a score on 72. They've put on 44 together. And they came together in the 8th over, so it's not like they've been hanging around either. Topping 26 off just 17. And Carmichael, well, he's nearly striking at 200 at the moment. 44 off 23. And now for the first time this week, we see Liam Doherty bowling from the Mardyke walk end. He's the one change in the two teams today. Northern Knights unchanged, but the Warriors, well, they've rested Harry Zimmerman. Took a blow to the head yesterday. They've brought in Doherty, and now they're going to see what he can do, turning over his arm.
Small diminutive figure, flowing locks. Liam Doherty. 6th bowler used. Little yard short. It's only a warm-up. First ball of his spell.
Well, he spent 2 days on the sidelines watching his team sweep aside Munster Reds and Leinster Lightning. Now he finds himself in the thick of the action.
And is that out? It is out. Well, this time Doheny clings on. We can hear the big nick from here. And they get their man, Cade Carmichael. That was a very important innings from him. 44 from 23. Sets the platform for victory here. Finally, they get him.
Well, we saw the same when the Warriors were batting. It was around this period of the game, the sort of overs 12 to 16, where plenty of wickets fell for the Warriors and it sort of slowed them up. They'll be hoping to do exactly the same to the Northern Knights now. 3 down. Carmichael, another one who didn't look back to the umpire for a decision. He knew he'd hit it. He was on his way. The celebrations began, albeit muted because of where the scoreboard is. They need a couple more now.
Neil Rock, the captain, is in.
Well, he's showing no ill effects from that bash he took to his left leg earlier when the Warriors were batting. One came through, just caught him on or above the knee. Well, Rock gets off the mark. Single, just played off his legs. Down towards long leg. Only a single, despite the speed at which he took off for it. And again, that equation, 47 to win. 45 balls remaining. But just as importantly, 7 wickets in hand.
Good start for Doherty, 1 for 2. Stopped. Should extra cover.
Aaron Gillespie doing a fine job there, getting some body behind it. Might not have taken it cleanly with his hands, but it wasn't going to get past him.
No need to run for that. That's a 6 any day. Hits the bushes to the right hand side of the screen. Stays in play, but another 6. This one to Topping is for Carmichael. Played through the line of the ball, up and over the bowler's head. Last ball down to the 13th. Spoils McCarthy's figures there, and that one's going to spoil them even more. That's a bigger 6. Heading on down the Mardyke Walk Road. And Topping taking over from where Cale Carmichael left off with that huge 6.
Well, you can see from the size of the follow through, he didn't intend that to stay inside the grounds, let alone the rope. Another 6 onto the total. Score very quickly moving on to 130 for 3.
And that's the end of 13. 130 for 3, as you say. Will Topping, Morgan Topping is there on 38 from 20. Neil Rock is on 1. Just face 2. 35 for victory off 42. This should ease to it. and take you through to the end. It'll be Craig and also Stephen Alkin.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, well, it's well under a run of ball now. You see here from this card, contributions, Pretorius, 43 from 27, and Carmichael, 44 from 24. And Topping is following in that vein, 38 from 20. Just 3 extras, but 130 now for 3, chasing that target of 165. Welcome back, Stephen.
Well, it's been a tremendous display of hitting by the Knights so far. They've been in control of this run chase throughout. Only a couple of hiccups, maybe a couple of drop catches might have made a difference, but overall the Warriors can have no complaints.
Well, there have been a couple of drops, but that one on the boundary, it was incredible. He'd done all the hard work, got the ball back up into the air, stepped back into the field, but I think he lost his footing, and that meant he put it down.
So Ryan Macbeth trying his luck from this Sunday's well end, having already gone for 25 in his first 2 overs.
Yes, it hasn't been the day he wanted today, Ryan Macbeth.
Pulled to get gate at mid-on. Just missed the stumps, but Rock was well home.
Captain to captain. Rock to get gate.
Very impressed with Morgan Topping's batting today. He's a beautiful striker of a cricket ball.
He is indeed, and it's not just been today, all festival, and I believe his early season form has been spot on, with plenty of runs under his belt.
And that is a big one. Smashed away towards the pavilion, between the pavilion and the tennis courts for a maximum, taking him up to 44. His last 3 scoring shots have been 6s.
Well, this time he combined power and timing, and he's put it right into the corner of the ground. One suspects, and indeed Sam Hollingshead coming out with the box of balls again. It's got to be severely depleted, that box, at this stage. They'll be sending somebody down to the sports shop in Cork.
It's a lot of money going out the ground. 70, 80 euro a pop, these balls. Now, of course, they're not all new, but
they were once upon a time.
They were once indeed. And replacing them is not cheap. I just get the feeling that the Warriors are fatigued. They had 2 brilliant victories against the Munster Reds and the Leinster Lightning. Put up a big score against the Lightning on Tuesday, winning by 73 runs, and then yesterday in that B-affected match they easily got to the target of 129 with many balls to spare. But this has just been a step too far for them.
Well, signalled a wide by Aidan Seaver at square leg. Paul Reynolds conveying that signal to the scorers. Bowler not exceptionally happy. Also saying 1 for the over.
Ryan Macbeth, his body language really does show what I'm talking about. This intensity of play that's required over 3 days of continuous cricket.
Oh, that's a classic shot. Beautifully played. Clipped away off the legs. Runs away for 4.
Topping moves to 48 off just 22 deliveries. The score to 142 for 3. They're just over 20 from their target now.
Well, that was a shot that would have graced any form of cricket, let alone T20. You'd see that in a test match and you'd be purring at it. A super shot.
And that one, he just waited for it and played it straight down the ground to Doherty at deep mid-on for a single. 1 away from his 50. the end of the 14th over. Topping keeps the strike. He's on 49. Rock on 2. 143 for 3. The target 165. It's only a matter of time.
It certainly seems that way at the moment. It's going to take some dramatic swing in this game now if the Northwest Warriors are to drag it back. Liam Doherty to continue from the Mardyke Walk end. And one wonders, what can the Warriors do here? This is around the time, 13, 14, 15, where they could only put on a runner ball, but they went from 3 down for 106 to 6 down for 130, and it really sucked the life out of that innings.
Well, young Liam Doherty is going to get another opportunity from the Mardyke Walk end, but it's Topping at the crease, and he's probably salivating on the prospect here, having hit a couple of sixes off the last over from Doherty. Good delivery. Right up in the block hole, forcing Topping to just get his bat down on the ball.
Such a difficult ball to bowl as well. If you drop it a few inches short, it's in the slot, allowing the batsman to get underneath it and power it back over the bowler's head. And if you go too long, well, then you've got a full toss. Just like
Full
that.
toss. Just like you nominated. There's the 50 for Topping off just 25 deliveries. Superb innings. And it's 144 for 3, and they're just 21 away. 4 sixes and 3 sixes and 6 fours in that half century.
Well, even those figures tell you just how well he's batted. 42 coming off boundaries. It's been powerful. And as I say, he adds that to his growing collection of runs and indeed half centuries this year.
Good delivery from Doherty, who's shown a good line and length so far. That one kept a little bit low to Rock.
Well, that's something we have found with this new pitch. Is the very full delivery does stay low, causes problems for the wicketkeeper as much as anybody else.
Cracked away by Neil Rock. Solid shot. Lovely left-hander's cover drive. His first boundary. He moves to 6, the score to 148 for 3.
Well, this was just nothing more than just a cracking shot. Minimal footwork, but the timing, his hand speed coming through. Nobody was going to stop that in that area of the ground.
And as the Warriors fielder comes from the bushes to say we can't find it, cue Sam Hollingshead from the pavilion with yet another replacement ball.
Well, Sam Hollingshead, he stood in the first 2 days here. Today he takes the role of third umpire. I wonder if he realised just how busy third umpire would be here in the Mardyke. He's probably had to go back inside now to replenish his stock of used balls.
17 to win, just off 32 deliveries. And that's Rock feasting with a thump, one bounce to the boundary. He moves to double figures. The score passes 150 and the target drops to 13. A mere peccadillo for these two.
Well, you see, this is where the Warriors' innings had to deflated with the loss of wickets, and as the Northern Knights, well, they're not losing the wickets, so they're powering ahead, and they've opened up the gap between the two sides at the same point.
A little bit of a debate about who's going to be in and who's going to be out. Robertson has come inside the circle. The deep fielders have gone back at mid-on and mid-wicket. And a full toss means it doesn't matter where they are, it's going to be another boundary.
Well,
Easy peasy for Neil Rock. He goes to 14. The score to 160 for 3.
well, they're on the brink of victory now, but what about this for a cricketing brain? He saw the change in the field. Fielder had come into the circle, so he just powered it past him, knowing that that would crash into the boundary.
156 for 3. 15 overs gone. Topping on 50. Rock on 14. And with 5 overs to go, the target is just 9 away. Chastening introduction for young Liam Doherty to this level of cricket. You know, he didn't bowl that badly, but it's just these batters are in super form.
They're established, they're there, and they are class batsmen. Well, runs required to win. It's dropped down to a single figure now. 5 overs to go, but just as importantly, 7 wickets in hand.
Trent McKeegan to continue from the Sunday's well end. Good delivery, well pitched up. Topping couldn't quite get himself sorted out there.
But again, these two are reading the game superbly. They realise they don't have to go chasing after every ball. When you've got 29 deliveries to go and you only need 9, you can pick which balls you want to score it off.
And that short delivery is pulled away to Jared Wilson. Just a single to Topping that time. Neil Rock, the Northern Knights skipper, he'll be delighted with the way his side have gone about this run chase. First they were excellent in the field, of course, restricting the Warriors to just 164, but there's been an assurance about the way they've chased down this target. Apart from losing Ross Adair early, it's been very comfortable. Went right across his stumps there, and that's just struck him maybe in the same spot where he got hit earlier, behind the stumps.
Different leg. It was his left leg when he was keeping wicket. This time it's his leading leg, the right leg. But again, perhaps he needs bigger pads. Just reaching those areas, those unprotected areas.
Eight to win. And that is 6 of them. Liam Doherty was interested there. He was heading towards him, but just that wind down the ground enough to bring it sailing over his head. And now the target is just 2.
Well, just 2 required now, but Shane Getgate not bringing the field all in. He knows these Northern Knights are going to want to finish it with a big shot.
Slower delivery, well outside the off stump, and Rock wasn't going to reach that one. Final ball of the 16th over. Perhaps one shot away from victory. He went for the big pull, but it didn't work out. McKeegan takes us into another over. 16 gone now. 163 for 3, Topping on 51, Rock on 20.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what the regulations are relating to run rates and bonus points. One feels that the Northwest Warriors have done enough to deny the Northern Knights their bonus point in this game. And although it might not make any difference to the table at the end of this first festival, There's still another 2 of these to go, and as a result, it could come down to net run rate at the end of the day, or bonus points. Although the Northern Knights, well, they'll be carrying a lot of confidence into their next festival.
Jared Wilson entrusted with the 17th over, 1 for 33 off his 3. 11 and over, it's about the right average for the way the Knights have played. It would have been interesting had the Warriors scored another 40 runs. 200 might have tested them, but certainly 165 is not enough. And that one kept low, and that's the anticlimactic end to this game. Through Doheny at wicketkeeper for 4 byes. Topping and Rock take the congratulations. The Northern Knights have 3 wins out of 3 in this Rario T20 Interprovincial Championship, and at the end of their first week of festival cricket here in the Mardyke, they can go home quite happy with their week's work.
Very much so. 3 wins out of 3 is what they would have been targeting, and to actually achieve it, it's a very, very good win. They went about it the right way. They got off to a good start. They kept up with the rate, and eventually they've won by, well, the best part of 4 overs.
Yes, a comfortable victory for the Knights. The Warriors will be disappointed with their efforts today, first with the bat and then with the ball. Quite a big gap between the sides. And, well, that just leaves us with 1 game left in the festival, and that comes up at 3:30 today, when we'll see the hosts, the Munster Reds, taking on Leinster Lightning. There's the card of the Warriors. And as you can see, just not enough big innings. A good start from Doheny with 39 top scoring, and Getkate with 29. But apart from that, wickets kept falling, and they were all out for 164. Or 164 for 9, my apologies. There's the bowling for the Knights. Great spell from Matt Foster, 4 for 30. And a really good piece of bowling too from Tom Mays with 2 for 20. Cone came in towards the end of the innings with 2 for 34 and 1 for Pretorius. But those wickets just kept falling from 85 for 2, 164 all out. And the preparations have already begun for the second match. There's the Northern Knights innings.
Well, Pretorius, he got them off to an absolute flyout, 43 off just 27. He was ably assisted by Carmichael, 44 off 24. But top scorer in that innings, Morgan Topping, continuing his fine form of the season. He went to 51 off just 28, and then Captain Neil Rock provided exactly the support he needed. Read the game so well, knew they had plenty of time, plenty of deliveries to go. He scored 20 off 13, and that meant that the Northern Knights reached 167 for just the loss of 3 wickets with 3.5 overs to spare.
Yes, an emphatic victory. There's the bowling figures. Wicket takers Doherty, McKeegan and Wilson. Robertson bowled well, but he couldn't get the breakthrough today. There were a couple of catches dropped, but just 5 bowlers used by the Northwest Warriors, and a comfortable run chase. That's the match summary. Northwest Warriors 164 for 9, Northern Knights 167 for 3. The Knights win comfortably by 7 wickets, and they go top of the table, having won 3 out of 3. The Warriors now 2-1 in the series. Still a long way to go though, with festivals coming up in Breedy and Pembroke in Dublin. So that's about it for today, for the 5th match of the 6-match series. At 3:30 we'll be back to bring you the Leinster Lightning against the Munster Reds, as both of those sides try to get off the mark and register a win for the first time in this Rario T20 Interprovincial Series. But from John Kenny, from Craig Senior, and from myself, Stephen Alkin, and the whole of the HBV team here in the Mardyke in Cork, we'd just like to say thanks for watching, and we hope we see you again in an hour or so.